Hey guys, sorry I fell off of the Vlogust bandwagon, but things have been a little crazy here for the last week. Last time I saw you was last Sunday, the 3rd, no, Saturday the 2nd. Um, we've had a bunch of lazy days. My husband is still out of work from a procedure that we had done at the Mayo Clinic at the end of July, and with him home, it is so hard to get motivated and to actually get things done. And with not having swim team right now, we don't even have a reason to be getting up and really going anywhere. But we've had some doctor's appointments. We went to the eye doctor last week, me and the boys, to get ready for school, and I feel like I had another appointment last week too. I don't know, but our summer league ended last Wednesday night, and I have been kind of off and on sick, having some stomach issues, and so I've just been really tired and things like that. And then yesterday, sorry, let me readjust. Yesterday ended up being a super long day for me. I had a 11 o'clock doctor's appointment to get a second opinion on my knee. I have probably never really gone into detail because I mostly do grocery hauls and Target hauls and stuff like that, but I have super bad knees. I've had super bad knees since I was 14. My left knee has always been way worse than my right knee, but my right knee is getting progressively worse. I've seen an orthopedic surgeon since I was 14, and I absolutely loved him. A few days after Christmas, December of 2012, I had knee surgery. It was patella tendon debridement. He thought maybe that would help and kind of alleviate some of my pain. He thought that my tendon was just shredded and that the strings that were hanging off were getting caught. And that didn't do anything to alleviate my pain. And so I was still seeing him every 2 months after my surgery. And in January, the night before I went to go see him, I was leaving, or I saw him on Monday morning, and Saturday night I was leaving my parents' house. And as I went to go walk down the stairs, my knee locked up, and I couldn't bend it, and I couldn't put weight on it, nothing. And when I talked to him about it, at my appointment on Monday, he said that it sounded like I had dislocated my knee and that I probably had actually torn my meniscus this time. Now, side note, that's always his answer is, you tore your meniscus, you tore your meniscus, you tore your meniscus. And I have had probably 7 MRIs, and I've never torn my meniscus, ever. And so he always builds it up that I tore my meniscus and I need surgery to fix it, and I've never torn my meniscus. Whatever. So he was bound and determined and convinced that I torn my meniscus in January, and so schedule another MRI, go get the MRI done, and finally get him to call me back 2.5 weeks later. Of course, we were having really bad weather and all this stuff, but I knew that the place that I'd had my MRI done already had it processed and the report done and everything, because I had called and gotten a copy of it. And was just waiting for him to give me his opinion. And he calls me Monday or Tuesday night, late. I was in the middle of cooking dinner, so it was 6. And he calls me, he's like, you didn't tear your meniscus, but I see a few things on there that are a little concerning. I need you to come in tomorrow so we can talk about it. And it wasn't exactly the best time to go in. I had to take Hayden with me straight from school. So I had to pick Hayden up from preschool early to get there in time, and he was squeezing us in, so we were gonna have to wait a while, and we had no lunch, and it was bad. So I see him, and he shows me the MRI. I'm sorry, my arm is getting tired. He shows me the MRI, and he's like, this is it. You have very little cartilage left, and that's why your knee is locking up and giving out and popping out of place. And I was like, oh, okay, well, so what do we do to fix this? So I ended up having to get a cortisone injection that day because he wanted to try this injection series, but to get insurance to pay for it, you have to show that you've already done X, Y, and Z. Well, I'd already done physical therapy, I'd already done prescription meds, and so this the cortisone injection was the last thing that needed to be done to get them to pay for it. So I got a cortisone injection, and then I did a series of injections at the end of March, beginning of April. It was the last week of March, first 2 weeks of April, because it's one injection every week for 3 weeks. And that it was not fun. It was very, very, very painful, and I was very limited into what I could do while I was undergoing these injections. And he was like, this should help. It should help, rebuild the cartilage and all this stuff, and like strengthen your knee. And let me just say, I've done PT multiple times. I did physical therapy for 3 months before surgery, like a year before surgery, to just try to strengthen the muscles, and he was hoping that that would help. And then I did physical therapy for 4 months after surgery, because I'm still not 110% healed. Like, I'm not completely healed. And I'll show you what my knee looks like now. But like, my incision goes right down the front of my kneecap, because it was not an arthroscopic surgery. It was both arthroscopic and open. And I still cannot like get down on my hands and knees and put weight on my left knee, because it's still not completely healed. And it's been almost 2 years since surgery. December will be 2 years. So that sucks. In any event, I haven't actually seen this doctor since April, because he was like, we'll do the injections again in 6 months, which would put it like end of September, beginning of October. But I just didn't feel like the injections didn't work. Let's just go ahead and put it out that way. My knee is getting worse. It's popping out of place for longer periods of time now. In fact, last weekend when we went and did our Kohl's and our Target shopping to start getting school supplies for the boys, it was raining and I had flip-flops on, which was my own fault. I should have had tennis shoes on. That helps my knee a little bit by having tennis shoes and not flip-flops on, but I didn't think about it. And my knee popped out of place on Saturday, and it did not pop back into place until Sunday afternoon. So I went over 24 hours with my knee out of place, and it's extremely painful. So I had decided a couple weeks ago that I was going to go ahead and get a second opinion. My mom and I have been talking about it since January, when the doctor told me that I needed to stop bowling and never bowl again. So we've been talking about it since then, that I need to get a second opinion, just see what another doctor says. It doesn't hurt to have a second opinion, because there's obviously something wrong, but it's just figuring out how to fix it the best. So I finally went to a website and set up to have them call me to schedule an appointment. But because I was getting a second opinion, I had to have all my records faxed over to them to have the doctor look at them before they would even schedule an appointment, because he had to agree to take me on as a patient. So that was Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, that they called me. So 2 weeks ago today that they called me and said, we need your records before we can schedule an appointment, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't get over to the doctor's office to sign the release form to have them fax my records until Friday. So I went over that Friday and I signed the release form. I was like, please fax everything that you have. And I had a copy of my MRI report and the MRI itself from January already with me, because we thought we would do a second opinion right away. So they called me Friday. Yeah, they called me Friday afternoon. They were like, hey, we can get you in Monday morning, but it's not at the office you wanted to go to. It's the one that's probably 20 minutes further from my house. And I was like, hey, I don't care. Whatever. If you can see me on Monday, awesome, because I needed to know our fall bowling leagues start, meetings are next week, and then we bowl in 2 weeks. So it was I need to know ASAP if I'm bowling or not bowling. Period, end of story. I've got to find somebody to replace me on the teams that I bowl on. So yesterday was my appointment. I had to be there at 10:30 to fill out all my paperwork for my 11 o'clock appointment, and I didn't leave until 12. But I really liked the doctor that I saw, and my knee actually wasn't really bothering me yesterday morning. It always bothers me, but it was tolerable pain, stuff I can deal with. And then he started pushing and pulling, and it was been bothering me really bad ever since now. But so we went over my MRI, and he saw something that my doctor never mentioned, never pointed out. And this entire time we've been thinking that I've been dislocating my knee every time I walk downstairs or put weight on my knee or anything like that. I have not been dislocating my knee. My knee is dislocated, period, end of story. The top part of my knee that's supposed to sit, like there's a groove that it's supposed to sit in, it doesn't sit in that groove. It's probably close to an inch to the right of where it's supposed to be. I guess actually to the left, because I was looking at it, you know, from that angle. In any event, it's not sitting where it's supposed to be. I have super bad arthritis for my age, which that was one of the first diagnoses when I was 14, was arthritis and tendonitis. There's very little cartilage left. What cartilage there is just destroyed because I'm bone on bone. And so he said that really the only option that he can provide me is surgery, and it's not going to be a little surgery. It's going to be a fairly big surgery. In fact, it's 8 things that have to be done. So it's left knee arthroscopy. So he is going to scope my knee, and then meniscectomy versus repair. So he's going to remove part of my meniscus. A chondroplasty, which I'm not entirely sure exactly what part that is. Open tibial realignment. So because this issue has been going on so long, I'm sorry, I'm so frustrated that this issue has been going on so long, because it's something that should have been caught on an earlier MRI. Because it's been going on so long, my knee is not aligned with my tibia, and my tibia is actually not completely aligned where it should be either. So he has to go in, and let me see if I can. So hold on. Okay, so this is my incision from the first surgery, the open, and then scope incisions. Okay, so this is from the first surgery. This is from an accident years and years ago, not surgery related. The open tibial repair, the incision is going to be probably 4 to 6 inches long. So it's going to be from like here to here. This part is where, you know, your knee meets your tibia, and it should be like over here. And it's not. But he has to cut into my tibia to release this part that connects it, and then realign it. So I'll have 2 screws somewhere in here that'll stay in unless they bother me. And then he also has to do a cartilage graft repair over here. So I'll have the 4 to 6 inch incision here, and then I'll have another incision probably over here. So he's going to release the tendon here and tighten the tendon here and replace the cartilage through here. And the cartilage will be cadaver cartilage. So that's like the general gist of what he has to do.